Okay, so I'm remaking this video. So I made this once, but then when I tried to show you how to do it in the calculator, it was a hot mess. So basically, we're given two pieces of data information, and they want us to know if either are linear. So to do that, we're going to look at the first table. And here what you do is you look at the changes in the x values, and those have to be constant to use this method. If they're not constant, you can't do this, okay? So you can see on the left-hand side, it's all plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. So it's constant over there. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just looking for the differences. So the difference between 0.09 and 0.12 is 0.03, okay? And then the next difference, 0.04. The difference between these two numbers, 0.06, 0.07, 0.1, okay? If these were to be if this function was going to be linear, these would be constant, but they're not. Like 3, 4, 6, 7, 1, they're not the same. Okay, so this is not linear. Then we go over here to this guy. Again, the first thing we're going to do is look at the x values, and these are all constant, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. It doesn't have to be 1, but it has to be the same. Then when I look at the differences here, 50 minus 47.5 is 2.5, right? Minus 2.5, minus 2.5, minus 2.5. So notice these are all the same. Since they're consistent, this is in fact linear. Now, it also wants us to graph these in the calculator to see if they look linear. So let's go ahead and do that now that I figured out how to use it. I am using an emulator. Oh, closed due to inactivity. Oh, good Lord. Sign in. How did I do this before? Go back. There we go. Okay, start. Where's calculator? In the toolbar. There's it. There's the calculator. Okay. So, what we're going to do is we want to make a scatter plot. So I'm going to go to, first I have to make the list. So to make the list for my scatter plot, I'm going to hit this button that says stat, and then I'm going to press edit. Okay? So you can see here it says list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to take all my x values in the first table, and I'm going to write those in list 1. So 0 through 5. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to go to list 2, and I'm going to write those numbers down. So 0.09, 0.12, 0.16, 0.22, 0.29, 0.39. Okay, so that's list 1 and list 2. Then I'm going to go to stat plot. So I'm going to press the second button, and then stat plot is the top left. You can see it's highlighting the buttons I press in red, so you can kind of see them. All right, so I'm going to do the first plot. Press enter, and I'm going to turn it on. That just means I want the calculator to graph all the points. Okay, I'm going to leave it as a scatter plot. The x-axis is list 1, which I just entered. The y-axis is list 2, which I entered. I'm going to use these little boxes because they look fun, and this lets me pick a color, which most of you can't pick a color. You can just pick a symbol. Okay, now I'm going to hit the button graph. Okay, and it looks like this. Now, it looks like this for a couple of reasons. It looks like it's all the same thing, but you have to remember the scale. Okay, so here, if I look at the x values, I'm going from 0 to 5. And my y values are going from 0.09 to 0.39. So all of those are less than 1. So I need to change my window. So I'm going to click this window button. And then I'm going to make my x minimum, I'm going to make it -1 because it's actually 0, but I want to be able to see 0 on the screen. So I'm going to go to -1. X maximum, I'm going to do 6 because I'm just going 0 to 5. Scale 1. Y minimum, I'm going to go ahead and put -0.01. We'll go small. maximum 0.4. Our top is 0.39. Our scale, I'll put 0.1. Oops, that's too much. How about 0.05? That's like half of. Okay, and then these last buttons, don't touch those, just leave them. And I'm gonna hit graph again. And then you can see there's my points. And you can also see that there's clearly a curve here. So this is actually gonna be most likely an exponential function, and we'll learn later how to actually find that out. So now let's graph our second set. So I'm gonna go back to stat. I'm gonna click edit. And now I'm gonna make list 3 and list 4. So list 3 is gonna be 20 to 70. 20, 30, 40, 50, 70. And L4 is going to be 50 and then minus 2.5. 47.5, 45, 42.5, 40, 37.5. Enter. Okay. Now I need to turn on this plot because right now I still just have my first plot. I actually need to make another one. So I'm going to hit second, stat plot, and I'm going to go turn on a second plot. Click enter, turn this on, leave it as a scatter plot. But now I'm going to change this from list 1 to list 3 because that's where I entered it. So I'm going to press second, and then you can see for the number 3, there's an L3 above it. That'll replace it. This might not be the same on all your calculators, so you might have to play around a little bit. I'm going to change L2 to L4. Oops. I don't know what just happened there. Check all arguments entered. Let's go back in here. Here we go. L4. That happened to me before too. I don't know why. All right. Go ahead and leave it as red. And the squares. Cool. So I'm going to hit graph. And you'll notice there's nothing there. And the reason is because of our window. It's set super small. So I've got to change that window. So now my X maximum should actually be 100. And I'm going to count by tens. Then I'm going to go and change my X minimum to 0. Or sorry, my Y minimum. And my Y maximum, where are we going up to? 50? Oops. There we go, 50. And we'll count that by 5s. No, 5s, 10s, 5s is good. And I'll hit graph. And now I can see those red dots up there. And in the bottom left-hand corner, because they're so tiny on this scale, I see my little blue dots again. Okay? So I'm looking at the red dots and I can see, yes, that in fact looks like a line.